Hello, Alan Wheeler here, and I'm here at my altar with candles burning, incense going. This is actually a duplicate altar to one I have on my desk at work, and it also has a bamboo plant like this one, similar candles, water, duplicate crystals, and most of the images I have here Odin and Freya and Isis um, are duplicated there as well. I have pictures of an older version of both altars on my website, which I call a virtual altar, and all of it done um, trying to create a sacred network of sacred space, at least in my mind. That's what I'm trying to do in all the places I live and have a family and post and communicate and connect. That's my intention anyway. So let me move the computer. I've also got the Tibetan singing bowls playing. I monthly go to a sound healing circle where we practice Reiki as well. And we have real live Tibetan singing bowls there. So it's getting to be like home to have those going in the background, and I hope that's not distracting for the video here. Now, one of the recent additions to all three altars, digital, office, and home, is this picture of Hecate holding the lantern there. And this morning, as I meditated, I felt some of those strong shamanic vibrations and pictured Hecate in my mind. And thoughts about making these videos on YouTube were going through my mind. Here are some of the things I've listed here. One thing I was thinking about, a friend of mine at the Cartomancy Forum and I were discussing the Seven of Pentacles. And in various decks, it's a deck comparison discussion we have going on there, a journal actually. And one of the things that came up as we discussed this card was sometimes it takes 10 attempts for one good piece of art to be produced. A photographer would maybe 1 in 10 pictures is a good one. And so that was going through my mind, trying to decide, wow, is it better to script and to rehearse, or is it better to just practice and get better at speaking and improvisation? I was also thinking about a video I made earlier, how I came to the conclusion it's more important for me to connect and to express love, if possible, than just to try to amass viewers or something on YouTube. And a related thought in my free association, again, this is in meditation, so it's hard to articulate, but I had watched some descriptions by Abby Normal on how to tap into divine messages or channel. And she said it's like surfing. At first it's awkward and you keep getting up on the board and trying. And so with those thoughts going through my mind, I recalled the last video. I think it was the last one that I made, and I had pulled cards from the Crystal Visions Tarot and one rune, asking about these feelings of connectivity and energetic connection that were much more pronounced during October and on November 11th and at other times. And surprisingly, I drew the rune Isaz. And at first that perplexed me because I would have expected a more fiery or watery or rune to express that question, to answer that question. But yet, almost in confirmation, the first card I drew was the Four of Cups, which is also about more of stasis and structure and those feelings when they are satiated, and the like the young woman here is obsessed, kind of in an obsessed state with this cup, but yet she's not wanting to drink it. So sometimes it's interpreted as that feeling of satiation and the sponge that's absorbed as much as it can take. In the context of this reading, I felt this was of course, their cup, so it was the feelings that just the overflowing, overfull, almost like the 4 cups of wine at the Passover Seders, that complete fullness. But then the Temperance card came in the middle, and then followed by the King of Swords. And I ended saying that perhaps it's the balance between this authority in the realm of thought. It's almost a feeling of Odin, and that victory, that mastery in intellect and wisdom, communication, and this kind of almost self-absorbed or absorbed in imagination and feelings that I would more associate with the shamanic trances and meditation and things. But maybe this Temperance is saying these can go on at the same time. There's an alchemical mixture. And so as you channel or tap into these messages, the spirit or the emotions of the prophet, so to speak, are subject to the mind and structure, so that you can stop any time or redirect or get back into the groove and things. So there's a certain amount of thinking without losing the feeling of connectivity. And so I thought I would try to experiment with that. And if this goes too long, this is what I meant to be transition and introduction will be a separate video here, and I'll think of a name for it. And I think I will have to do that. So, but a name's not coming to mind yet. But let me tell the story that came to mind basically in pictures during this meditation this morning. So I pictured, again, different images. This is an example, but different images of Hecate coming to mind. And I pictured her at the crossroads, and with her key, she opens the door, and I decide I'm going to maintain the trance, but talk it through in my mind. And as the door opened, I saw a beautiful park, like a national park, but bigger. Just a huge, endless park with paths and trails, forest where people could wander freely, and this beautiful nature scene as I walked through the door. And again, I'm talking this through to practice that surfing. And as I came through the door, there was a tourist booth on the side, and it looked like you could purchase maps, compasses, and all kinds of things there. And as I thought about this and realized, I probably have to make a decision here. Am I going to follow a map? Am I going to take a path or wander freely? And I suddenly remembered a similar experience from a few days ago when, and this is just a memory of a past scene. And in this scene, and again, I was thinking about making videos for YouTube, I think. And in the scene, I was walking through a kind of a watery creek bed full of rubble and stones and things, and it was pretty rough going. And then up on to my right, were people up on a path, a smooth path. A lot more people were walking on a well-worn, smooth path up on the right. And it was just that much of a scene. And again, there was no answer which was better, but I was obviously in the off the beaten trail there. Well, I remembered that and came back to having walked through the door into this big park, and I realized, well, you could also get rubber boots there to walk through the watery creek bed to make it easy if one chose to do that. At that point, my mind seemed to zoom out further and further back, for higher and higher up, until I was flying above the park, and I could see different areas and where the different paths went. And I realized this was the King of Swords experience, seeing everything from the air and not being there, but having more of a mental picture of everything at once. And the thought came to mind, what do you want to do? Do you want to sit in the creek, just sit down in the water of the creek and play? Do you want to get on a tourist path, a familiar path? And at the end of this little exercise, that did feel like it was coming to me, because I was stepping in faith that each image and each new piece was felt like it wasn't going to mean anything until I stepped into it, and then it gained meaning. So at the end, Hecate did not say what to do, but just asked, so what do you want to do? And So that's for me to think about. But that was, as promised, I said if more came to me about that spread from the Crystal Visions Tarot, I would share that. And it was supposed to be transition into doing a draw from the Alchemical Tarot. But I think that's going to make this longer than I want it to be. So, let me think of a title for this and post it. And then I'm going to do a draw on from the Alchemical Tarot and ask it about many paths and polytheism. And I have a question, which is, are all paths narrow? So I'll get to that in just a minute. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope there's some sense or good feeling that comes through these videos. Many blessings, and take care.